Hey, this is Steve Scolacci, and this is how to sound like Brent Mason in your Line 6 Helix. So what you guys just heard was my take on Mercury Blues, an Alan Jackson song that Brent Mason played all the electric guitar parts on. So I wanted to just make this video to talk about how I think you get the Helix to sound most like Brent Mason. Obviously, it's impossible to play like the man, but this I feel like got me pretty close, and I'm nowhere near the player he is. But if you go over to HX Edit, I will show you guys what's going on in the signal chain. So let's go over. So here you look in the signal path. Okay, I've heard a lot of interviews with Brent, and he's a really simple guy in terms of this 90s country sound. A lot of it, he often says, comes from a deluxe, which I used here, the US deluxe. Also, always had like a Dynacomp type of compressor in the front. So a big key to his sound is this really squishy sound. So if you hear what this sounds like, so I got this in here first in the chain. Then I'm going into the Kinky Boost. A bunch of the rig rundowns of his, he has the Exotic Effects EP booster early in his chain, usually right after his compressor. So thought this would be a good idea to throw on here, and I put the bright switch on. So yeah, again, here we are with the amp, and I did something different here that I wouldn't normally do. So his tone, in my opinion, it's very smooth. It's bright, but most of all, it's present, and I really wanted to get the presence to come through. So it's really easy on the Helix to get too bright and too harsh and too intense with the highs. So what I did in the cab block, I took the high cut down to 3 kilohertz, and that might seem like a complete extreme, which it is, but I did that so that I can use the treble and the presence knobs on the amp more efficiently. So you see I got the presence up to 8, which is, putting in a lot of brightness, but I preferred the brightness of the presence over the high, whatever the high cut is cutting on the cab block. So that's why I did that. It's actually a pretty cool experiment that I think worked out really well. I've also got the early reflections kind of cranked up, so just listen to what this sounds like without it. So this is with no delay and no reverb, but this is just the early reflections. So I like to use that just to give a little bit more of a body, and then obviously I got a slapback in here, 190 milliseconds, pretty low mix, about 20%. And with these, I love the legacy effects because you could dial the treble out. I like to have a really dark delay. It's really dull. It's there, but it's not noticeable, which is what I usually go for in that. They just got a little room reverb. Nothing special here, 80 millisecond pre-delay is really the only thing that I think did this, brought the mix down to 20%. A really important part of this sound is from your fingers. So Brent plays with his fingers all the time. He actually just uses a thumb pick and all his fingers, but I use a pick and the hybrid picking. But to really get that type of sound that you really need to sound remotely close to Brent, you really need to attack the strings. And what I'm doing is I'm scooping my middle finger under, and I'm just popping it out. So that's a big part of it. You can try using the pick, but it's not going to get the right sound compared to that. With this patch, I think that you can get close to his tone, and I think it actually sounds pretty dang close. So I hope you guys dig it.